started.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone, and hope you had a wonderful weekend. Today, I believe we are hearing a presentation from Roger from the great state of Colorado. But before we do that, I'll pass it to our Executive Director, Matt Bogosian, for some updates. Matt, the floor is
Great.
yours.
Thank you, Michelle, from the Century Foundation. Appreciate your ongoing partnership. Good morning, everyone. August 18th, 2025, and this is AMCC's weekly national 30-minute call. Same time every Monday, 11:30 Eastern, 10:30 Central, 9:30 Mountain, 8:30 Pacific. I'm Matt Bogosian, Executive Director, and David Van Sicklen is the AMCC Operations Director. And when I say 30 minutes every week, we do make a few exceptions. We don't have AMCC national calls on federal holiday Mondays, and sometimes, and very rarely, we do go longer than 30 minutes, like what we did last Monday when we did a special edition of our weekly call, partnering with our friends at NIST to help them solicit official feedback to the federal agencies. They're recrafting our national strategy for advanced manufacturing. So remember, input to the feds needs to be submitted by September 30th, after which they'll huddle up with a bunch of federal agencies and then, I guess, produce the national strategy sometime next year, TBD on that. They're also doing NIST is also doing informal in-person sessions like we did 2 weeks ago at the Manufacturing Momentum Summit in Detroit. David and Michelle were just talking about that. It's great to see many of you guys in person. It's awesome. It takes a lot of time and effort, of course, but in the right doses, meeting in person, cementing relationships, beginning new ones, there's nothing like it. If you have that continuing thread of productivity coming out of it, and we think of like the two things AMCC does every week is a piece of that momentum building activity, this Monday 30-minute call, and then the AMCC update that comes out at the end of the week, thanks to great input that you guys send us throughout the week, and sometimes on the weekend. So that gets us back to the national strategy, which was in the AMCC update. We floated some draft ideas in Detroit and also in Friday's updates for biggies. And David can drop those into the chat if he hasn't done so already. So thanks for feedback on those. We'll modify those recommendations before we make a final submission like everyone else before September 30th. So all comments, whatever, we're welcome. Just send them to our email. Feel free to use whatever you see there, build off those ideas with your own suggestions. This is a team sport. Again, just as another reminder of that RFI, you don't have to, like, you look, you'll see 12 questions. You don't have to answer, any one of them directly. Actually, the 12th question is kind of like some wide open one. So you can just give your take on what ought to be in the national strategy. Or you can just pick one or two that makes sense to you. For example, last week we were honored to be invited to a meetup of professional engineering societies with community colleges. They were doing a brainstorming session on how, so often siloed engineering professionals, and these societies that have thousands of member engineers across the country, how they can get, out of their silos, just like all the different parts of the ecosystem, and lean into helping to produce better pathways for community college students in this case, in the case of engineering, so we can produce priority products. They had a whole brainstorming session to encourage comments to the RFI, which was awesome. I think they focused on question 6 of the RFI and a few others, like one of the workforce questions. Anyway, you get it. Please chime in on the RFI. By the way, shout out to the lead organizers for last week's Ask Me event, Kathleen Kosmosky, I think you're on, who honchoed the whole thing. Nice work, Kathleen. That was awesome. Any quick takeaways to report from that session last week?
Oh, hi, Matt. Thanks so much. A lot of talk about how societies can better support ecosystems to make sure that once the collaboration starts, that we could step in and really help ensure that it continues. So that's something we're taking back to our our folks here, and I know the other societies that were there were taking that back as well to see how we can better support the ecosystem development to ensure that the collaboration continues and it's not just a first time talk and then it falls apart. So that's some stuff we're looking at to help support. But thank you to both you and David for attending, and Michelle as well. It was a great event and looking forward to the next one that we can host.
That's awesome, Kathleen. And it was the American Society of Mechanical Engineers, your group, but it was also the chemical engineers, right? And the electrical engineers. Is that
And
how do you
Civ
perceive? Oh, go ahead.
and Civil was there.
Yeah,
And so the convening was sponsored by UEF, which is the United Engineering Foundation. So we had a grant to support that work.
that's great. So this is just emblematic of like, how we need to get this ecosystem approach presented to all of the different key players within the manufacturing ecosystem of support. And we did that with the economic developers, right? With the IEDC folks. We've done that with decision makers at the local level, like the county commissioners and supervisors with our friends at NACO, et cetera. You guys get the point. So it's great to have partners in the engineering societies now with Kathleen et al. So super grateful for that. And you all being on this normal 30-minute national call where we either have a roundtable discussion, just folks bringing issues, best practices, or challenges to the fore, or we have a short presentation from one of you about best practices or challenges. And today we're going to have the latter, talking with Roger Nakagawa from the great state of Colorado, working to organize manufacturers of priority products and the ecosystem of support they need to thrive. Good to see you, Roger. We had a great visit out there in Colorado with NREL, with our partners there, and met up with Barbara and awesome group of stakeholders, the MEP and others. If you're before I turn it over to you, Roger, we do the little introductions of a couple of stakeholders around the country just to kind of model the interactive piece of this thing. So if you're new to this call, it's a good opportunity to introduce yourself, whatever part of the manufacturing ecosystem you are, either in the manufacturing piece of it or what we term as a term of art, really an ecosystem of support under the heading of the Big Six. What those are six key components of every region's manufacturing ecosystem of support that the longstanding over a decade-long hypothesis is that needs to be operating sufficiently in a region for the manufacturers in that region to thrive. So think workforce, supply chains, tech transfer, entrepreneurship, et cetera. And where we're headed is, Big Six regional assessments, so we can craft smarter product producing interventions. So that's the journey we're all on one way or another. For example, like just to help make that happen, later today, David and I are meeting with federal agencies, Argonne National Laboratory, Deloitte, and others, like we do every 2 weeks, to try to co-create an open source tool and playbook, AI infused tool and playbook. We've got a 1.0 version that David can drop in the chat of the playbook. Always, we put this in the AMCC update because we could use as much help. Everybody feels like they're moonlighting on this metrics project, and we need to bring more capacity to it. So thanks for your take. So if you're new, just raise your hand. Tell us where you are in the ecosystem of support, or if it's been a while and you haven't introduced yourself in a while, please do that. I do occasionally call on people, so let's do we have any volunteers? Tell us where you are in the eco. Yeah, welcome. Is it Nell?
Yes, that's me now.
Yeah,
And
welcome.
thank you everybody. So I've been coming for about a month now. Really valuable stuff I hear here, made some really great connections. But I'm Nell Varenas and I'm the CEO of Strategic Value Plus Solutions. We focus on reshoring manufacturing companies, supply chain digital twins, and Industry 4.0, 5.0 platforms for small and medium-sized manufacturers. We're also involved in workforce upskilling using technology to help move that along. and we have access to OBBA benefits, specifically research and development credits, among other kinds of benefits that we open up for our clients. Great to be here.
Awesome,
Thanks,
Nell.
everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, great to have you on, right? We're a free open source network for public, private, and nonprofit stakeholders that buy into this evidence-based bottom-up approach. Dale King.
Matt, good to see you. It's been a while since I've been on here. I've kind of been following from a distance, but I was last on here when I was with the Pacific Northwest Aerospace Alliance
Right.
and doing industry cluster work. And I've moved chasing my kids down to the Boise area, and I've landed a position here with Mountain Home as their economic development director. So I'm very
Oh,
excited.
congratulations.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And we've got some great potential down here and just getting started, literally started last week. So this will be my
Awesome. Well,
first
that's
full
great.
week.
Great to
So
hear. We've been in conversation with stakeholders in Washington and Idaho about a roadshow up in the Northwest, AMCC roadshow. So I'd love to have that
terrific.
thread of conversation
Terrific.
continue. If you wouldn't mind sending us a note on that, that'd be awesome.
You bet.
Thanks, Dale. Marcia Wisely, welcome.
Hi. Yeah, good morning, everyone. Marcia Wisely. I'm the CEO of Atheon. We are a startup supporting industrial manufacturing, thinking about how to improve collaboration between operations, process engineering, automation engineering to start, and then with a bigger kind of DevOps and Industry 4.0 alignment kind of vision. Wanted to say hi because we actually are starting a pilot. And so if you're in the manufacturing space and are interested in some technology around that kind of collaboration piece, would love to connect.
Awesome, Marcia. Yeah, like folks do here, use the chat like crazy. Go for it. Let's do one more. Jeanette, welcome.
Hello there. Wanted to share some really good news with you guys. We have been awarded as the top honor out of 1,700 chambers, the Chamber of the Year. So I'm excited.
Tell folks where you are, Jeanette. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm in Memphis, Tennessee. So my role at the Greater Memphis Chamber, I am the Director of Existing Business and the Director of our Advanced Manufacturing Council. And, Matt and David, we would love to have you guys to bring the road show for one of our Advanced Manufacturing Council meetings. There's a really great, robust group of thought partnership and, what it's going to take to move the manufacturing industry in Memphis forward. We have 1,132 manufacturers in Memphis. It's a pretty serious industry here, but just wanted to pop on and just share our good news. We're excited about that. Like I said, out of 1,700 chambers, we were number one. So we have taken the top honor and we can apply again for 3 years. So we are going to be excited and constantly sharing our good news. So good things continue to happen in Memphis. We'd love for you guys to bring the roadshow to Memphis when you see fit.
Congratulations, Jeanette. That is awesome news and really kind of begs the question in my mind. So let's set up a call and talk about this if you wouldn't mind, because I think of in so many places around the country, chambers of commerce are really the connective tissue to manufacturing. Not everywhere, it's different. I mean, that's the thing about this kind of bottom-up regional evidence-based approach. You can't just presume that one type of entity is really the nexus of leadership in that region. But chambers are certainly big in a lot of places. And so it's hats off to you, Jeanette, on that. So without any further ado, let's turn to our friend Roger Nakagawa in Colorado. Shout out to Barbara Pinnell James for your leadership in bringing us to Colorado and organizing some of the stakeholders where we got to meet Roger. So Roger, tell us a little bit about yourself and your work to strengthen the Colorado ecosystem of support for manufacturers. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, thanks for that intro, Matt. Thanks, Barbara, for bringing us into the fold here on MCC. Appreciate all you guys. David, thanks for the work helping set this up. So my name is Roger. I'm a business development representative for a company called Interstates. We're industrial electrical construction offering 8 different verticals. So there's going to be electrical engineering, electrical construction, automation controls integration, OT and plant cybersecurity, analytics, studies and audits, electrical controls and OT maintenance, and then manufacturing of control panels, skids, and e-houses. So we'll send links out. You can check us out at www.interstates.com. But so the purpose and the root of that was, I guess, starting this off on how being involved in a lot of your associations and organizations and volunteering your time to strengthen the manufacturing communities around you can help you with your day-to-day work as well, and kind of tying that connection in. So to start us off here, Interstates has our business development representatives with both regional and national responsibilities, generally broken up around 60-40 or 70-30% regional to national ratio. And so my region is Colorado and Wyoming. And so again, this is the root of my involvement in the Colorado manufacturing community. So
Now
starting my
you're an
career,
engineer, right, Roger?
that's my background. I'm now in business development. So yeah, so I was trained as an engineer. That's my background in mechanical engineering. Shout out South Dakota Mines. And then, I transitioned from that into a sales role, business development for Interstates. And so a couple years ago, to be honest, my bosses took a kind of a big risk, hiring an engineer fresh out of college with, no network, no sales background, no business development background. And so my bosses thought was one of the best ways in order to build my network would be joining some local manufacturing organizations. So this is where I joined NOCOM, which is the Northern Colorado Manufacturing Sector Partnership. It's a sector partnership established in Colorado in 2013. And
hey, Roger, you're breaking up a little bit on my end. It could be me, not sure.
Breaking up for everybody.
Can you talk a little louder, maybe? Yeah.
Sure. Is this any better?
Yeah, sounds all right. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I'll try to move this closer. Sorry, guys.
No worries.
But so it was really, it started off as a kickoff on how to be able to build my network, and help me progress day-to-day job. And then gradually, the more that I got pulled into the manufacturing community, the more that I strengthened my roots. It comes together that way. More that I became involved. So with NOCOM, I currently hold a seat on the board. We'll talk a little bit more about the structure of NOCOM, and then as well as running their network. Am I still breaking up, Matt? Was that what that was?
Yeah, it's just a little weak to my ears. Yeah.
Okay. Is this any better if I hold the
So I just stay on
closer?
top of the mic. Yeah, that would be my 2 cents, whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
David's probably got better advice.
Sounds good. Well, so NOCOM is volunteer-ran and organized, directed by the Board of Manufacturing Representatives, as well as with an educational representative from the local community college. The workforce representative, they're usually some of them training your HR, the core manufacturer, and then the economic development representative. So all of those make up the board of directors for NOCOM. Interstate, with our manufacturing vertical, allows me to be able to hold a board meeting as a manufacturing representative.
So you're doing both. Your regular job with Interstate crosses over into this kind of moonlighting job in terms of helping to set up this what do you call it? The Northern Colorado Manufacturing Partnership.
That is correct. Yeah. So a lot of it ends up it takes up maybe an hour or two a week of my day job, and then a decent amount of my free time. But it all ends up playing into both strengthening, it opens opportunities for the manufacturing community as a whole, which therefore also increases the number of opportunities for me in my day-to-day work. And so, really the purpose of this is it's both through workforce initiatives and networking initiatives. Naturally, considering the nature of my day-to-day job, there's not really a lot that I can offer on the workforce side. When we're sitting in board meetings and the workforce committee starts talking, a lot of them are HR representatives or, again, training representatives. The detail that they talk about in that really flies over my head really fast. But I do think it's more of it is some of the most important work that we're doing as a state manufacturing organization is the work that we're doing on the workforce side. Considering, you're getting kids, we're getting kids interested in careers in manufacturing. We are working on developing workforce, trying to entice folks to move to Colorado and see it as a manufacturing hub. All of these different things, different trainings, different apprenticeships, internships, and the work that we're doing with the local community colleges, I think is some of the most important stuff that we're doing and really setting up the manufacturing community for success in the future. In the meantime, I feel like the network space is a little more short-term, and then the workforce committee is doing more long-term work. The purpose and the reason why I say that is that the networks committee, the committee that I run, is more focused on the networking now, right? So that's monthly happy hours. We call them knowledge transfers, educational sessions, knowledge roundtables, which bring manufacturers together to discuss current issues, and then that allows us to set direction for our events for the year. And then insight tours, where various manufacturers guide us on a tour around their facilities so other manufacturers can learn, processes, best practices, et cetera. And so when you think about it, a lot of that is more for the net, right? How can we help increase network? How can we help increase collaboration? How can we help build that community for the manufacturing industry here in Colorado statewide? And then the workforce committee is more about planning for the future, right? That's kind of at least how my brain breaks it down between the two roles or the functions that NOCOM serves.
So how's it going so far?
It's going well so far. We have over 400 different organizations representatives from over 400 different organizations that are active members and still putting up.
Yeah, I don't think we're able to understand you, Roger. Is it possible to speak directly to your computer as an alternate? Or
We can try that.
yeah, you'd have to change the audio setting.
So as Roger's doing that, what he had reported to us when we were in Colorado, it's kind of like the challenge that we see in regions across the country, right? Like, what are the component parts of a strategy to bring a region's stakeholders together, to keep them together, to do the kind of evidence-based assessment of the strengths and weaknesses of their ecosystem, and how does focusing in on particular sectors where we need to produce priority products fit into that. And so it's a complex system approach, which is going to be different in every region. And so Roger was expressing to us when we were there in Colorado about his efforts to doing that, sounded to me anyway, Roger, like you guys were making good progress, but could be aided by all the stakeholders, or many of the stakeholders on this national network who have been doing this for a long time, right? So it's both, like, it's going well to a certain extent, but how could you enhance it really is the call to action here. So try talking now. Yeah. No, not hearing a thing. Yeah.
You don't have any audio now. Sorry.
So Barbara, you've been gonna call you out here on the spot here. You've been involved in doing that. What are some of the successes and TBD activities that you see happening in Colorado? Yeah.
Hi, Matt. Thanks for asking. That is a terrific question. We are a thriving manufacturing ecosystem with all kinds of different manufacturing, from biospace to tons of CPG to aerospace and defense, which is what people really know us for. But we are having our Rocky Mountain Advanced Manufacturing Expo October 7th and 8th, and we're super excited for that. We have over 400 members, manufacturing members in NOCO at this time. And we do.
And NOCO stands for Northern Colorado.
The Northern Colorado Manufacturing Sector Partnership. And we do our expo very differently. We do an industry leading day where we focus on everything that manufacturers need. And then the second day, we do a workforce development day, which really piqued Jeanette Jones's ears when I told her that. Her and I meet on a regular basis. She's like, wow, I've never been to a trade show that does workforce development. I said, yep, we multitask here in Colorado. So that's what we're doing with our expo. Anyone is welcome to come. It's a great way to get out there and see what's happening in the industry with manufacturers and MSPs and with education systems. What are we really teaching our students, and what are we bringing to the table for the next generation, and how are we supporting them? And that's, our sector partnership. We do workforce development, education, and tours so that we are really immersing ourselves in the culture and knowing how to support it going forward.
Great. Thanks, Barbara. Try it again, Roger. We just have a couple of minutes left. Yeah, go for it.
Sounds good. Is this any better, guys?
It's a lot better. Yeah.
Gosh, man, I apologize to everybody for that. Yeah, Barbara nailed it on the head. We've got this upcoming Rocky Mountain Advanced Manufacturing Expo, and we feel like that's a huge tie for everyone to come together and increase that collaboration. I think an industry that does it really well, at least from what we've seen out here in Colorado, is the aerospace industry. And I think some of that comes, it's shown at the Rocky Mountain Advanced Manufacturing Expo, the emphasis on collaboration and how collaborating increases opportunities for everybody. Sometimes it seems like, manufacturing can kind of be stuck, at least in Colorado. There's a portion that really embraces this collaborative mindset, and then there's a portion that still sees everyone as competitors, right? And I
Right.
think
And we
some of that
gotta
is
we gotta
opening
talk
that
about that straight
understanding.
away, Roger. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Jim's got a quick question before our time's up.
Yes,
Go ahead.
are you connected with the next gen people, the next gen partnerships?
No, we are not.
All right, I'll send you some info or look them
Awesome.
up.
I know I'd appreciate that info. Matt and David, I'll send you guys my contact information, and then I'll send out NOCOM's website later, and hopefully that'll make up for some of my technical issues today.
Oh, no worries. It's all good. We just keep going forward, Roger. That's the AMCCMO, right?
That's right.
Onward. That's why we sign off on our AMCC update every week, right? So it's doing all that work, but having a framework for doing it and having it accumulate. Like I said at the beginning, it's like instead of these cool events, that just die on the vine, but have it be tethered to a framework that we advance, so we can make this, an American century, right? And it's going to take a lot of teamwork, a lot of input into this RFI is a small piece of that. But we've got a lot of good, hard work ahead of us. And you mentioned aerospace. One of the efforts coming out of the last Manufacturing Momentum Summit, last year's Momentum Summit, was trying to have kind of sector-specific ecosystem exchanges. And you talked about aerospace. We have one that is emerging with our partners at NAM on the Maritime Ecosystem Exchange. So we got that going on. And when we get going on the aerospace one, we'll definitely loop Colorado into that. But everyone from regions around the country that have deep ties in the aerospace industry, heads up for that, because that aerospace ecosystem exchange is going to be coming soon. We can talk more about that. Jim, you still have your hand up. Was that just no, you're cool. All right. Anything else for the good of the order? You put your info, Roger, in the chat.
I have not.
Yeah, why don't you drop that real quick? Somebody can grab your email, like Jim, and we can go from there. Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate your teamwork this week. Hope you have a great, productive week. Thanks in advance for sending us whatever you think ought to be elevated in the AMCC update this Friday, and we'll see you next week. Thanks all.
Thanks, everyone.